Hey, what's up, guys? Legal Bro here. Today we're going to be talking about one of the hottest topics of December 2022, Brittany Griner's exchange for Victor Bout. Was Victor this wholesome family man, as Russia claims, or is he a hardened criminal that terrorizes the world? We're about to find out. I'm bringing you exclusive access into what the Russian Federation is saying about Victor back in 2011. And I'm going to compare what Russia said about Victor to what the US jury convicted him for. And if you wait until the end of the video, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's an order that was unsealed yesterday. You're going to get exclusive access. I've paid for it, giving it to you. I want you all to have it. You deserve to see what it is. Now, let's get into it. 2011, this is what Russia sends to the federal judge that is presiding over Victor Bout's criminal case. Holy smokes. All right, we got an exclamation mark. That's good. Any of you translate Russian out there? All right, well, I don't speak Russian either. So the good news is I've got the version, boom, for you, just like that. And I've already highlighted the sections that I think are probably the most relevant. Now, this is an interesting way for the Russian Federation to send a letter to a U.S. District Court judge. And remember, folks, how does someone become a U.S. District Court judge? They are appointed by the President of the United States for life. Probably one of the most prestigious types of judges that we have in the U.S. Doesn't take away from any judge, but it goes to show you if a president appoints a federal judge, they are appointed for life. In this case, it's a big deal. What's the first thing they're saying? They're saying, Your Honor, Madam Judge, exclamation point. I don't know if I've ever seen a filing address the court with an exclamation point. I thought that was quite interesting. We've got Whalen still in Russia, who definitely didn't get a fair shake. We got Brittany Griner, who gets convicted of essentially having shake, right? The equivalent of shake, but in the oil world. So what's most interesting about this is we've got Whalen that was convicted on completely bogus charges. We've got Griner, who's essentially a political pawn. And what does Russia say in the first paragraph of their letter to the U.S. District Court judge? Your Honor, amid hopes that your high level of professionalism, rich life experience, and independent thinking and adherence to the ideals of humanism will help to impartially and objectively present to the jurors all circumstances leading to the arrest of Victor Bout in Thailand, subsequent extradition to the United States, detention, and trial. Now, that is very interesting, right? Because that is Russia essentially acknowledging that the U.S. has a very fair criminal justice system. Now, a lot of people, you see it all the time in the news. Our laws suck. Our justice system is terrible. All these things. Yes, are there areas where we can improve? Absolutely. It's like anything. But when you look around to the rest of the world, folks, we are the island in the middle of the Pacific. Everybody else around the world consistently, it's pretty much, hey, good luck. You're guilty unless you can prove you're innocent. Oh, by the way, in most circumstances, there's no way that could even happen because of the government, because of lack of funds or lack of evidence or the lack of ability to get access to a lot of those different things. In the U.S., we have by far and away the most perfect, imperfect criminal justice system. Now, let's go down further. What's it say? The very fact of Victor's arrest, which was instigated by the U.S. Secret Service and later his extradition to the U.S., carried out with grave violations of Thai law, doesn't cite a single citation, no statute, no policy, nothing. Just says, just blanketedly, yes, you all violated Thai law. International law, same thing. Like, think of the amount of international laws available that they could have cited to. Just nothing. Just general characterization. You all violated international law as well as human rights. Oh, Victor. Poor Victor. Victor has been selling arms to weaponize regimes that hurt people around the world for decades. And yet somehow we're supposed to feel bad. Victor is somehow, this pariah. He's getting his rights violated. So it goes down further. It talks about how, Victor was alleged by the U.S. to have all these ties to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. If the U.S. has found enough information to corroborate this, whether it's informants or their own sources, I think we're going to believe them over Russia. And what do? We go down further. It says, well, Victor, props to you. It looks like Victor might have rescued some Russian comrades from Taliban capture back in sometime in the 90s. Okay. So if you want to read this, I'm going to put it down below, folks. This is a letter that Russia sent to the United States District Court judge back in 2011. I guarantee you most of you have never seen this. I've never seen this. And this is going to be important because of what I'm going to show you later in the video. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you the U.S.'s response, the final response of how Victor was released from U.S. custody. Now, that's going to be important. How do you take somebody that is a convicted felon out of federal prison in the Midwest and send them to Abu Dhabi to get a free pass, right? Get out of jail free card. So you go down further. It's no secret Victor Bout's name is on terrorist blacklist, Taliban, Al-Qaeda. The UN documents, reports submitted by expert groups of the UN Security Council concerning Angola, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Somalia, and which he is mentioned as the leader of the largest illegal network of arms trafficking, in reality do not offer any proof of Victor's illegal activities, and to a significant degree are based on unconfirmed information received from unreliable sources. Again, they don't say what the information is, they don't say who the sources are. They just, it's Russia, right? It's just, hey, take what this is at face value. Okay, so here's the next part. Russia says, look, it's difficult to understand why Victor is being charged with attempting to conspire to kill. Essentially what Russia's letter is saying is that, hey, wait a second, U.S. Old Vicky boy didn't do anything wrong. See, what happened was FARC is not a recognizable terrorist organization in Russia. And therefore, the fact that Victor may or may not have been doing some bad stuff with them, it doesn't even matter. Because take a look here, folks. According to Russian law, the FARC is not deemed to be a terrorist organization. So the U.S., just don't even worry about it, right? Here's the best, right? Oh, man, I would love to see some affidavits from Victor's friends. It'd probably be like drug lords. Ugh, the middle section of this letter absolutely kills me. It's essentially like Victor Bout's resume, and it's like, if you're looking for references, I've got people all over the world. If you're looking for people that violate human rights, if you're looking for people that are arms traffickers, if you're looking for drug dealers, we've got everybody. Just go ahead, talk to my colleagues, friends, and relatives. They're all... Victor Bout has been regarded for a long time as an honest, respectable, moral, and kind-hearted person. Law-abiding, responsible, and trustworthy businessman. Citing 0 instances, by the way, 0. Victor has never been accused of a crime within the territory of Russian Federation. He is an exemplary family man. Wow. Wow. The American system of justice is... This is the best part. The letter rounds out with this. This is the truest statement, and the only thing that matters here is that Russia knows this back in 2011, yet it illegally convicts in a sham trial Griner and Paul Whelan, yet acknowledges the American system of justice is famous for the independence and objectivity of its court ruling. Maybe the only true thing contained in here. I'm not entirely sure, but let's go ahead and take a look at who Victor is. I got a video for us. It's a little bit... The quality of the video is absolutely terrible. It's from like 12 years ago, but the content...
Eduardo and El Comandante would say they want to buy millions of dollars worth of weapons to fight the Colombian army and the U.S. military pilots protecting them. Smolian has to believe that Eduardo and El Comandante are real.
Right, if Smolian doesn't believe it, we're done, and we go home.
The meeting is about to take place. What's your temperature like?
Your heart rate is up a little bit, and your adrenaline's going a little bit, you have butterflies.
Emotions that only escalated when at this hotel in Curacao, the fake rebels tell Smolian, Boot's buddy, they want to spend $12 million on everything from sniper rifles to surface-to-air missiles.
He bites off on it. In fact, he eats the whole thing whole. So it was very successful.
So successful, Smolian immediately flew to Moscow to present the deal to Boris, the man the DEA believes is Boot.
2 weeks later, in another meeting, this time in Copenhagen, Smolian told the DEA operatives that his Russian business partner really liked the deal. And then he revealed who that man in Moscow really is.
You know who this man is that we're getting the weapons from. This is Boot, B-O-U-T. He's wanted by the world. They call him the Merchant of Death.
B-O-U-T.
Yeah, he spelled it out for him. We marveled that Smolian would do that, but it was just great evidence.
The DEA was in the game, but Boot was still safe and secure in Russia and reluctant to leave.
Hard to imagine that Russia, in their filing to the district court judge, would say, Boot's never been charged with anything here. Stand-up guy. He's perfectly fine. Yeah, I wonder why, because he's the fall guy offloading arms that they're trying to get rid of. Because he's the fall guy that's trying to offload arms for Russia.
The DEA undercovers insisted they couldn't go to Moscow, but had to meet Boot to seal the deal.
And Boot's going to know that that's how these deals are going to work. Comandante is not going to release these millions of dollars for these weapons to anybody until he at least shakes hands, talks, looks Boot in the eye, and then we can move on. That's how we countered, and Boot went for it.
Next stop, Romania, just 3 days later. It was to entice Boot to Bucharest, claiming that's where the money was stashed to pay for the weapons. Boot said he'd come, but then he had trouble getting a visa. The case stalled. After 10 days of waiting for Boot, the top DEA agent made a gutsy call to walk away.
So you've been chasing this guy hard for 2 months. You're almost got him. And you got to make the decision to step away from the table.
If we were real, we wouldn't stay there forever. We're going to now step away and say, look, we need to take care of some other things, but it's time for us to leave.
The next 2 weeks, Milioni came up with a new plan to reel Boot in. The phony rebels told Boot they would be in Bangkok soon. Asked if he could get there. Boot agreed. The morning Boot arrived in Bangkok, the DEA and Thai police had gathered downtown, waiting for word from cops at the airport that the Merchant of Death had landed.
They call us in the room and they tell us that he's here.
What was the moment like there?
So that's really interesting. I would love to know why Victor couldn't get a visa to go to Romania, but he could get one to go to Thailand. And also remember, folks, that the Russian letter said that it was against Thai law to arrest Boot.
It was just unbelievable because we knew at that point, you know, you're kind of like holding on as you climb up the mountain at different points in the investigation. This was one where at that point I believed, and the other investigators believed, not only are we in the game, he shows up at this meeting, we've got him. He's going to be arrested.
Boot drove to this hotel and met the 2 fake arms buyers in a conference room on the 27th floor. Here, the DEA's undercover team told Boot they want his weapons to kill Americans.
The Comandante and Eduardo make it very clear. He said, we're fighting against the United States. Boot responds and says, look, they're after me too. He said, but we are together in this. They are my enemy also. Eduardo and Comandante talk about how they want sniper sights for the rifles that they have so that they could, quote, start blowing the heads off American pilots. Boot's response immediately is, yes.
Then the DEA said Boot jotted down on these pages what he intended to deliver for $12 million, including between 700 and 800 surface-to-air missiles.
The Man-Portable Air Defense System, MANPADS, is typically used as a surface-to-air missile. But
700 to 800 of them? What?
5,000 AK-47s, anti-personnel mines, fragmentation grenades, armor-piercing rockets, money laundering services, and all within the context of speaking.
It's like one of those one-stop shops, like, oh yeah, we got stuff that'll pierce armor, we got frag grenades. Oh, by the way, when you need help laundering that dirty money, we got all these services for you too. It's like truly a one-stop shop.
About a shared ideology of communism and fighting against the Americans.
After 2 hours, one of the DEA undercovers made a call, a signal it was time to move in. Within minutes, the Thai police and DEA agents burst into the room.
We see Boot across the far end of like a boardroom type table, standing up with his hands inside his briefcase. And they give him the command to put his hands up. And he hesitates. And they immediately focused in with their weapons and gave him the command again.
Are you thinking we've come all this way to see Victor Boot shot by a Thai policeman?
The thought did cross my mind that something really bad is going to happen to him right here. But then he complied.
It turned out there was no weapon in the briefcase. The disarming
Kind of looks like Nick Cage a little bit.
of Victor Boot was now officially complete.
The Thais cuff him. He's taken into custody. Smolian's taken into custody.
Does Boot say anything?
The game is over or something like that.
The game is over.
Right.
But then a new game began. Boot became the center of a legal tug-of-war between the U.S. and Russia, which wanted him released back to Moscow.
Boot said he only went to Thailand as a simple tourist, not an arms dealer. Boot and the Russians managed to delay his extradition to America for more than 2.5 years. But last Tuesday, after a sting that played out on 3 continents, the DEA finally got their man. They flew him to New York.
We had him. Think about the money and the time.
Where he pled not guilty to charges including conspiracy to kill Americans. When Boot rode under tight security in a convoy to jail in Manhattan, riding right along with him was Louis Milioni. This is the Lord of War, the Merchant of Death.
Right.
And you've got him in your hands.
Right, he's in custody. It's a great feeling. It's an absolutely great feeling.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. As always, Legal Bro hooking it up for all you below. Take a look. I paid for it. I'm giving it away for free. I have the sealed application where the U.S. asked to get Victor out of federal custody and into Russian arms, no pun intended. Take a look down here. Now we get real, folks. The U.S. in its sealed order. And remember, this is hot off the press. This was just unsealed yesterday, and I'm giving it away to you all for free. This is what my channel is about. I want to give people the information so they can read it and digest it and see what it's about. Here we go first. Paragraph 1. On or about April 24th, 08, grand jury in the district, right? Southern District of New York, returned an indictment which charged Victor Bout with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, conspiracy to kill officers and employees of the U.S., conspiracy to acquire and use anti-aircraft missiles, and conspiracy to provide material support and resources to a foreign terrorist organization. On or about 2011, Bout was convicted of counts 1 through 4 of the indictment after a jury trial. Bout was sentenced to 25 years in prison. On or about April 9th, 2012, Bout was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Paragraph 4, Bout's currently spending his time incarcerated at a federal prison in Marion, Illinois. Paragraph 5, here's where it gets good. The government respectfully seeks, based on significant foreign policy interests of the United States, that's what we're going to call this, foreign policy interest, an order enabling the U.S. Marshals. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, so you're about to learn some really interesting stuff. A lot of people don't know this about our federal system. When you have somebody that is charged and awaiting trial, or somebody that is being transported, or anybody that is evading justice, the U.S. Marshals are the ones tasked with protecting federal judges, protecting courtrooms, taking care of prisoners that are waiting to be charged, hunting down, right? Think about, the Jeffrey Dahmer types. And what do the marshals have to do based on this request from the government? They have to go to Marion, Illinois as early as December 2nd, 2022, or any day thereafter until December 16th, 2022. Now remember, what does this say? It says that Bout has to remain in marshal custody unless and until the president, Joe Biden, executes the clemency power under Article 2. What does that mean? He's got to pardon Victor Bout. If Biden pardons Victor Bout, now he can be released out of U.S. custody. He doesn't have to serve his prison sentence, and he can go back to Russia, which the undersigned understands to be under consideration based on communications with National Security Division of the Department of Justice, and return Bout to Marion on or before December 16th unless the president executes the clemency power with respect to Bout. Now, what does that order say, right? Here's what that order says. The U.S. Marshals go all the way up to Illinois. They go to Marion. They say, look, Bureau of Prisons, we got this order here from a federal judge saying old Vicky gets the get out of jail free card. We got to take him. And oh, by the way, he's coming back. If we don't have the president execute a pardon for him, then he's coming back here. And remember, old Vicky's coming back here. If the president doesn't give Vicky the get out of jail free card, he's coming back to do his time. So you guys keep his cell open, all right? The wherefore paragraph, anytime you see that, the documents that I post, anything like that, the wherefore paragraph is whatever the request is. So it says the government respectfully requests that the attached order be issued requiring the BOP, Bureau of Prisons, and the warden for Marion Federal Prison to allow the marshals to remove Bout on December 2nd, 2022, or any day thereafter until December 16th, 2022. Here's why you're just learning about it from Legal Bro today. The affirmation and accompanying order be maintained under seal, and docketing of any entries related to this matter be delayed until either 24 hours after the release of Bout from martial custody or when Bout is returned to Marion Federal Prison on or before December 16, 2022, whichever occurs earlier. The government will promptly advise the court upon the occurrence of either event. And then we've got the sealed order below, signed by federal judge Victor Marrero. So remember, folks, this was unsealed yesterday. It looks like this was filed under seal, and it was executed by the court on November 29th, 2022. There you have it, folks. I need you to like and subscribe below to see more Legal Bro content. If you have any videos that you want to see us comment on, post it below. We want to know your thoughts. We want to hear what you think. Did you think that the Victor Bout Brittany Griner trade was even? I don't care about your political opinion. I just want to know, do you think it was an even trade? Comment below. If you like that, take a look at some more Legal Bro content up here. Till next time, love you guys.